OpenAI just released an official plugin that runs their Codex agent inside Anthropic's Claude Code. Yes, you read that right. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, built an official bridge into their competitor's developer tool. Code reviews, adversarial challenges, background task delegation. All from Codex, all inside Claude Code. Here's what it does and why it matters. Codex-plugin-cc is an official OpenAI repository that adds Codex integration directly into Claude Code. It launched today as v1.0.0 under the Apache 2.0 license, and it already has over 1,300 GitHub stars. The plugin gives you 3 core capabilities without leaving your Claude Code session. Standard code reviews, powered by Codex, adversarial reviews that challenge your design decisions, and background task delegation where you hand problems off to Codex and check back later. It wraps your local Codex CLI binary and app server, so there's no separate cloud infrastructure and no new accounts to create. Your existing Codex auth and config carry over automatically. As the OpenAI community post put it, it is Codex, just invoked from inside Claude Code. This is the interesting part. Why would OpenAI officially support a competitor's tool? The answer tells you everything about where AI development tools are heading. Claude Code won the local first CLI agent market. Developers chose it. Rather than pretend that didn't happen, OpenAI recognized the reality and built a bridge. If developers are already in Claude Code, OpenAI would rather have Codex available there than not available at all. And there's a deeper signal here. The plugin uses MCP, Anthropic's Model Context Protocol, for tool integration. One analysis called this a tacit acknowledgement that Anthropic set the standard in this area, so we have OpenAI building on Anthropic's protocol to integrate into Anthropic's tool. That's not competition, that's convergence. The AI coding space is becoming interoperable, and developers are the ones who benefit. Getting it running is straightforward, and it takes less than a minute. You need 3 things: Node.js, 1818, or later, a ChatGPT subscription, even the free tier works, or an OpenAI API key, and Claude Code already installed. In your Claude Code session, you add the plugin marketplace, install the Codex plugin, reload your plugins, and verify the setup with /codex setup. That's 4 commands. If you haven't used Codex before, you'll also need to install the Codex CLI globally with npm install -g at OpenAI/codex, and run Codex login to authenticate. Once that's done, the plugin picks up your existing Codex authentication and configuration automatically. If you're already a Codex user, there is literally 0 additional configuration. Your API keys, model preferences, and even your MCP server setup carry over. The review commands are where most people will start. /codex review runs a standard read-only review on your current changes or a specific branch. Codex analyzes the diff, checks for bugs, suggests improvements, and returns a structured review right inside your Claude Code session. You don't switch tools, you don't copy diffs around, you just ask for a review and get one. But the real gem is /codex adversarial review. This is something different entirely. It's a steerable challenge review that deliberately pushes back on your design decisions and highlights risk areas. Think of it like having a skeptical senior engineer who questions everything you did. Why did you choose this data structure? What happens under concurrent access? Have you considered the failure mode when the database connection drops? Is this endpoint rate limited? It's designed to catch the bugs that a polite standard review misses. And it's especially useful here because the review comes from a completely different model with different assumptions and different blind spots than the Claude session you're already working in. 2 models, 2 perspectives, 1 terminal. The third capability is background task delegation, and this is where the plugin really shines for productivity. /codex rescue hands a problem to Codex as an asynchronous background job. You describe what you need, investigating a bug, fixing a failing test suite, or continuing work on a feature branch, and Codex works on it independently while you keep building in Claude Code. You're not waiting, you're working on 2 things at once. /codex status shows you're running and recently completed jobs for the current repo. /codex result retrieves the finished output when it's done, and it includes a Codex session ID so you can jump into Codex directly to iterate further on the result. /codex cancel stops the job if you change your mind or the problem resolves itself. This pattern of parallel AI work is genuinely powerful. Claude Code handles what you're focused on, Codex investigates the side quest, and you merge the results when both are done. Under the hood, the plugin is surprisingly lightweight. It wraps your locally installed Codex CLI binary and communicates through the Codex app server running on your machine. There's no separate cloud service, no API proxy, no additional authentication layer. It reuses everything you already have configured. Your codex config at ~.codex/config. TOML, your API key or ChatGPT session, your environment variables, even your MCP server setup. Configuration supports both user-level defaults and project-level overrides. You can set your preferred model and reasoning effort persistently. The plugin also maps informal model names like Spark to their full versions like GPT 5.3 Codex Spark, so you don't need to memorize model IDs. One clever feature is the optional review gate. It uses Claude Code's stop hooks to automatically block responses if Codex finds critical issues during review. Think of it as a circuit breaker. Claude proposes a change, Codex reviews it, and if something looks wrong, the response is held before you see it. Step back and look at what's happening in AI development tools this week. Anthropic shipped computer use for Claude Code, giving it full GUI control from the terminal. OpenAI shipped an official Codex plugin that runs inside Claude Code. GitHub launched Agent HQ, where you can pick between Claude and Codex for your repos. The walls between these tools are dissolving fast, and the pattern emerging is clear. The tools that win aren't the ones that lock you in. They're the ones that integrate with everything else. Think about what each tool brings to the table. Codex brings cloud-based execution with sandboxed environments, security isolation that enterprise teams need, and GitHub native triggers that respond to events automatically. Claude Code brings local first speed, maximum flexibility, computer use for GUI tasks, and a massive MCP ecosystem with hundreds of integrations. Now you can use both from the same terminal session. You don't have to choose one ecosystem. You use Claude for the fast local work and delegate to Codex when you want a second opinion, a background investigation, or a cloud sandboxed execution. For developers, this is the best possible outcome. You pick the right tool for each individual task, not the right ecosystem for your entire workflow. The age of AI coding tool lock-in is over before it even started. That's codex-plugin-cc, OpenAI officially building for Claude Code. 2 competing AI agents, 1 terminal. If you found this analysis useful, subscribe to Prism Labs for more AI developer content. See you in the next one.